Howdy guys, it's Joe here, today talking about IDDQ, and it's McCree, and yeah, overall this is like definitely one of the best McCrees that you can really find anywhere. Of course there's also Aimbot Cody, but overall he's really good. So if you're learning or looking to learn how to play McCree at all, he's a really great example. And of course, one of the best things to see about him is just how good he is at aiming, and just how good he is at getting kills at far range, at close range, really at any range. Just starting it off, we saw that Genji. Of course, McCree should counter Genji. McCree should be able to beat those backliners. And a lot of people kind of have problems with that, because of course if you happen to E them, but only get 1 or 2 body shots, they're going to be fine, they can probably actually kill you. But if you bother to put in the time and bother to learn exactly how to get headshots with this guy, you can just get the backline really easily like this guy does, and you can kind of see how he is really good at actually, countering people that are in the back line. So if you're really having a lot of problems with Tracer, maybe Genji, anyone like that, maybe pick up McCree and he really can help you a lot. But yeah, we're just going to continue from here. Overall, what is another really nice thing about him is that he plays McCree in like 2 different variations, or I guess 3. He either focuses as a anti-flanker, if they have people like, I guess this Hanzo, if they have people like Genji, or really anyone that's trying to get in the back line, he puts the majority of his attention to that, protects the tanks, protects the supports, and makes it that his team can do really quite well. You even saw it just kind of right there. Other than that, he also does focus quite often on being a semi-flanker. He can run around the side, and while he doesn't get all the way behind the enemy's team, he can get semi-near, and of course just do a heck of a ton of damage, and burst a support, do a lot of damage to a tank, anything like that, and of course get some really nice ults. And the third way that I see him play really often, well, yes, even 4, the third way is trying to get height advantages, and that's kind of mixed with the 4th one, which is just trying to stay at a medium range far away. Of course, McCree is one of those characters, very similar to Soldier, where he does so well far away. So many people have problems with him. The only problem with McCree is that you have to be really good at aiming, good at getting headshots, and just overall good at shooting far away, which is very hard of this character. But if you can't happen to learn it, then you can play just like this guy and essentially just want people from super far away, be really hard to counter, and yeah, overall, McCree's just a really good character if you're just really good at the character. Right here, though, we see him just trying to stay far away, and he's kind of doing a mixture of all of them. He's getting height advantage, he's staying far away, and he's still focusing on the backline to try to protect his own backline. Right there, we just saw an amazing ultimate. Of course, going after that person. If you do see somebody like a Reinhardt, you probably won't want to go for them immediately. And a really nice thing that we saw right there was the fact that the McCree happened to E above the Reinhardt shield. Didn't work exactly in this situation just because he was a little bit too far away. He couldn't have exactly gotten to there in time, but still pretty much played it the best that he possibly could. Of course, you do want to E above the Reinhardt's head, because from there you can essentially just keep shooting him. You get rid of his shield and your team can do a lot of damage from there too. So that's a really cool thing that he did. And of course he did another great thing, which is when he saw that he couldn't kill the Reinhardt, he switched it up. From right here again, though, we see him standing really quite a far range. He could be walking like immediately right next to them and play a really nice, close range right click one. But especially since his nerfs, it's a lot better of an idea for the most part to stay far away on high ground, or next to those pillars right there on the opposite side of the map. You can stay right next to those. Just try to get at a decent range where you can still get a lot of bullets, but at the same time, you're not going to get whomped at close range. McCree can, of course, do okay at close range, but it's just a lot less safe. And obviously, McCree can actually get pretty close pretty quickly with that shift. Of course, not the closest, but it still can do pretty decently. So you don't have to worry about being so close all the time to everybody. Again, we see right here, he's focusing on the back line. I'm not sure if he's getting call outs from his supports to, fight these people. Doesn't really seem like it. Just audio cues and other stuff like that. Maybe just trying to track where the Tracer is. But he's able to push back that Tracer again and again, eventually getting the kill on the Tracer. Especially if you're playing McCree more than really any other DPS in the game, you can really focus on beating those people that are trying to get your backline. And if you can get those guys and then get a lot of consistent damage from far away, you can just win like a lot of your team fights, and that's all you really have to focus on. So that's a nice thing that just you kind of want to remember. Right there, of course, getting some damage from far range, really nothing you have to worry about too much. And of course, you see that this guy has really good mid-range damage and really good mid-range headshots. If you do want to get that, I'd say go into the practice range and just practice against those bots. And then after you start to get used to that, of course, go into custom games and just practice against those bots and just see what really works out. Alright, here we saw a nice thing about this. Of course, McCree, if you are happening to have your ultimate, but it's not really doing anything for a while, what you can easily do is happen to shoot it right towards a Reinhardt shield and almost break the shield by itself. And in a lot of cases, break the shield. And if there's enough people behind that shield, you can break the shield and still kill a few more people. And that's where a lot of these higher player people actually do. They don't really save the McCree ultimate to try to get a huge team wipe. Of course, he did the first round, it worked really well, but a lot of the times that doesn't work the best. But you can just save it for times like that, get a lot of damage on that shield, and then it's a lot harder for the enemies to engage because the shield's gone. Here, of course, he's just trying to do as much damage as he can, trying to stay really close up. His team's over there, just in the corner right here, and of course, they're just right about at overtime. He's kind of at an awkward position. Again, though, jumps, happens to hit that guy above the head, and he gets the kill. Unfortunately, he just gets picked off, and his team happens to lose the point, but still played it really, really well. Guess he could have been, like, tiny bit more safe, but yeah, he played that really well. Just got unfortunately hooked, which you just kind of have to take sometimes. Alright, here he sees that Lucio went in a little bit too far ahead. If the Lucio would have maybe waited for this McCree player, IDDQ, he could have probably lived, as he could have just sniped that Tracer, as we've seen time and time again. Right here, again, trying to get some high ground. What a lot of people would be doing right here, that I think, just from a lot of my games, is they wouldn't be trying to get this corner, which is a great corner, by the way. Instead, they'd often just be trying to, walk right next to those pillars, as you see right in front of us, but on the opposite side of the map, and just kind of wave in between them, and hope that they can maybe pick someone out right behind the Reinhardt shield. McCree really isn't the best at that. He can do okay at that, but he's a lot better being kind of the sides, just getting a lot of picks, getting a lot of kills, and just getting stuff that people aren't really ready for. And of course, right here, we see a really nice pick. Of course, waits around the corner, has his audio on, so he should be able to hear anyone that walks around the corner, and he just hopes that somebody comes eventually. There we go, the Genji comes right there. Came a little bit too fast, though, just jumped around the corner, not much he could have done. But he sees this Genji, goes for him, finally sees that maybe this was a bad pick, but it still works out pretty well. As you can see, if you can happen to get headshots, you can really win versus like any of the other offense heroes. This character is still really, really good if you are wanting to play him. If you don't want to play McCree, he's still really, really good. You just have to really get amazing at the character. Get headshots, get really good at positioning, and just kind of go on from there, and you can still do really well. I feel like a lot of people kind of underappreciate how good McCree is and think, he's trash because he can't snipe halfway across the universe anymore. No, he still does pretty well. And as you see, he doesn't really position at super, super far range. He positions more at medium range with a height advantage. That seems to be the best way to go as McCree. So if you're trying to think about where I should be, try to think, where is it medium range away from the enemy with some height advantage? And you don't always have to hide right behind your tanks. McCree doesn't really need that because he has a little bit of self-peel with that E and a lot of self, just killing anyone that's coming on you. Of course, you do want to back off, though, if the enemy team is coming for you. Right here, of course, just getting as much damage as possible. I could see some people trying to go for the ult immediately. He waits a few seconds. Of course, I think he hears that Roadhog behind him, so he decides to back off. And then, of course, he saw that bullet, so backs off, shoots this Lucio as best he possibly can. Shoots the, of course, Roadhog the best he can. And just kind of waiting. He could have tried to waste his ult right there, but your ultimate can do actually quite decent. Of course, it isn't the best ultimate in the entire game. I think everybody should know that. But at the same time, you can do decent damage with it, and you can, of course, burst through Reinhardt shield. So you could say that for the next engage. So this team was pretty much all dead anyways, so should probably just back off. And now he does still have his ultimate for the next engage. So just walks back to his team, and we can just see what goes on from there. Right here, just kind of walking around, waiting for his team, seeing what really just happens. And of course, he sees the Genji right there. I think he hears him again. A lot of the times, this player just seems to snap to where the enemy is. Like when you're watching it, you're kind of thinking, how is he doing this? It's because of audio. And this is just kind of why audio and headsets, microphones, all this stuff can be so important, as it can tell you where people are before you can visually see them. Just something that's nice to try to remember. Right there goes for his ultimate. Gets a really nice kill, really quite easily. And then I think he hears this person right here as well. Unfortunately, Hanzo sometimes can just insta-burst you, but still really, really well played. Of course, again, he tries to get on this height advantage. A nice thing about this also is that if McCree does have a height advantage, it's very easy for you to get headshots. So if you can push people off of a platform such as this, well, you're going to have the height advantage and you should be doing okay. The soldier had the height advantage on that, went for this guy, and then he just died, and then his team got the point. Unlike the first time, he did get the point. And that's all what we're going to see about McCree today. Overall, I feel like his McCree is really, really strong. But of course, one of the things that you do want to remember is that if you feel like on a certain map, McCree isn't quite working or quite cutting it, you can switch it up. This guy really switches from McCree to soldier, all the different characters. And if you're feeling like, maybe I just want to switch, maybe if I just want to try someone else, maybe if it just wasn't working the best, you could switch. I feel like it's doing pretty decently, but on this map in particular, I feel like Soldier is really, really good. But yeah, that's essentially what to do with McCree. Overall, a pretty strong character. Let's just get on to him playing Soldier, which does play pretty similar, and that's a thing I do want to mention. Soldier is a little bit more focused on further range, and this is just kind of talking about the differences between the two. Of course, Soldier is a bit more focused on further ranges, and of course, he can be a little bit further back. He has a little bit more time where he doesn't have to hit every single bullet, and he doesn't have to focus as much on headshots. Well, if he does get them right there, you can see he just bursts straight through people. So it makes it that he's a bit more of a safe pick, and you don't really have to get as many picks on him. With that said, a lot of the times McCree can actually counter Soldier pretty well if he's playing super well. And if you're versus a lot of people like Tracer that are coming to the backline all the time, it doesn't feel quite as good, as you can't really burst them as well. They can dodge all your abilities, and they can kill you quite a bit easier. So it kind of depends on what you need on your team comp. Of course, that all is really what it is. But it will, I'd say, if you don't have much time on McCree, maybe just go Soldier. He's a little bit easier. Just simply because of the fact that you don't have to pull off as many plays. You can just kind of shoot from far range. Still, we do see some really nice stuff about him. Even playing this character, of course, trying to get to the back line and try to just still get as much headshots as possible. What happens to a lot of Soldier players is that they pick up Soldier and they see, I don't really have to get headshots. Soldier has a lot of damage. It really isn't necessary, so I don't think I'm going to go for it. And they often go for body shots, and that's kind of what's holding them back. Of course, headshots are just a lot better in a lot of situations. They are a lot harder to hit, and of course, if you are versus a very small hitbox, let's say a Lucio like halfway across the map, you should probably go for body shots because the headshots, a lot of the bullets will just simply miss, and of course hit above the Lucio. But against bigger targets, especially like Reinhardt, D.Va, Roadhog, and even people like McCree, which has a pretty good hitbox, you should be doing decently well. So you have that. Of course, just continue from right here. You can really just kind of see a mixture of the differences between playing McCree and playing Soldier. He's essentially just staying at the same place for the majority of the time. A nice thing that Soldier does have that McCree doesn't is a little bit more movement options. Of course, McCree does have that really nice combat role, but it doesn't move you way too much. So, yeah, you can really take it either way. But overall, what I'm going to say is that if you do want to become a good DPS, first off, just practice your aim. That's just such an important thing. Second off, though, probably the second most important thing, and maybe even more important than the first one, get really good positioning and be ready to kind of see where the enemies are and try to stay away from them and try to stay away from dying over and over again. You can have the best aim in the game, but if you have no idea how to use it, and if you just keep dying over and over again, you might be able to get to Diamond, you might be able to get to Masters, you might be able to get to Grandmaster, but it's just getting good positioning seems to be the one thing that can hold a lot of people back, and if you get it, you can really win a lot of games. Just kind of follow what I was talking about, and just kind of follow what you seem to be seeing a lot from this player, and that should be helping you quite a bit. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. As always, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a comment down below. Tell me who you want to see next time. Of course, that's why I picked this character, so kind of go on from there. As well, leave a like if you want to see more videos like this. Press subscribe if you want to see any more from the series. And as always, thank you all for watching, and have a wonderful day.